When the powerless outnumber you 10 to 1, your entire system runs on borrowed time. The Empyrean series hands you dragons and bloodline magic. Powerless rips it all away. Both are breaking down from the inside, but only one shows you what collapse actually costs, and one of them doesn't even know it's dying. These two series own book talk right now. Fourth Wing versus Powerless, both obsessed with who deserves magic, both built on gaps between the powerful and everyone else. But here's the part nobody talks about. One system was designed to fail eventually, the other just hasn't figured it out yet. There's a specific moment in Powerless that shows you everything. I'll walk you through exactly when it happens. Let's start with how these worlds actually work. Fourth Wing gives you the Rider's Quadrant. Bond a dragon, gain power, earn your spot through survival. Feels like merit, right? It's not. Only certain families get anywhere near dragons. Only the worthy make it to Basgiath in the first place. The magic gets passed down through bloodlines. Access stays controlled at the top. The powerless never enter the arena. But there's one detail most readers miss, and it explains why one of these systems is already dead. Stay with me. Now flip to Powerless. Paedyn has zero magic, she fakes it. Survives in a kingdom where elites hunt ordinaries for entertainment. The gap isn't about status here, it's life versus death. Here's the brutal part. The system knows it's unstable. That's why the purging trials exist. They're not competitions. They're population control with cameras. And here's what got me. When I first read Powerless, I caught myself rooting for the entire system to burn. Not reform, not improve, just burn. That reaction told me something about how the book works. So which framework breaks faster? The one hiding its violence behind nobility, or the one turning oppression into spectacle? Hold that thought. The answer matters more than you think. Both systems start cracking from below, not above, and that changes everything. In Fourth Wing, Violet starts powerless. No dragon bond, body too fragile to survive training. She shouldn't make it past week 1, but she does, and when she bonds not just one dragon but 2, the entire hierarchy gets thrown into question. Because if Violet Sorrengail can channel that much raw power, then the system isn't about bloodlines after all. It's about chance, which means anyone could rise to the top. And if anyone can rise, everyone becomes a potential threat. Powerless takes a different route entirely. Paedyn proves magic isn't necessary. Strategy works. Survival instinct works. The will to outlast people born with advantages. When she starts winning trials, when crowds cheer for her over the elites, panic sets in at the top. Because if an ordinary can actually compete, then what justifies the entire power structure? Here's what I need from you. If you got born powerless into one of these worlds, which system gives you better odds of surviving? The rigged meritocracy that pretends to be fair, or the honest tyranny that shows you the violence up front? Comment your pick and your actual strategy. I'm reading every single answer. This is where the story shifts direction. Let's talk about what all this means for Violet, and for Paedyn. Violet bonded dragons she was never supposed to touch. When Terran chooses her, the power literally tears her body apart. The system now sees her as a glitch in the code, a threat to the natural order they've maintained for generations. Paedyn survived trials designed to kill people like her. After each round, she vomits blood backstage where cameras don't reach. The system sees her as proof of its own failure. Both girls are marked for elimination now, not despite how the system works, because of it. Both series understand the same truth. Build a society on exclusion, you're not creating stability, you're setting a timer. The Empyrean framework pretends merit drives everything, but it's held up by inherited access. Noble families control dragon breeding grounds. They decide who enters Basgiath. They write the official story. The second that control slips, the quadrant could tear itself apart from within. We see it starting with the rebellion. We see it with the Venin showing up. External enemies are just symptoms. The real fracture runs internal. Powerless doesn't bother hiding the machinery. Every trial gets broadcast live. Every death airs in prime time. Elites want ordinaries to witness their own helplessness. But visibility cuts both directions. When Paedyn survives round after round on camera, when she exposes the cruelty to millions of viewers, ordinaries start believing they can actually fight back. And the elites lose their most effective weapon, fear. Here's the real question under everything. Is inherited power more stable than stripped power? No, both rely on the same foundational lie, that the powerful deserve to rule, and the powerless deserve what they get. These books aren't offering you escapism. They're holding up mirrors. Fourth Wing asks, what if the system looks fair but isn't? Powerless asks, what if it never pretended in the first place? We're not just analyzing fantasy hierarchies here. We're reading about our own world, just with dragons added in. So what comes next for both series? The Empyrean is building toward internal war, not just against Venom, against itself. Once you prove a system can be broken, everyone wants to break it their own way. The powerless will rise up, but so will the people determined to keep them down. Powerless is already in active collapse. The trials are failing to control the population. Elites are fracturing into competing factions. Paedyn is becoming a symbol now, not of power itself, of resistance, of what happens when you refuse to stay invisible. Both systems will fall eventually, but only one was built with something to replace it. Now we understand why these hierarchies collapse. The real question becomes what gets built after, because in both series, the next generation refuses to accept the old rules. Now we understand why these hierarchies collapse. The real question becomes what gets built after, because in both series, the next generation refuses to accept the old rules, and that's when everything burns.